Today we're going to learn about Brighton and the history of Brighton. So we're going to start with what is some of the basic knowledge you have of Brighton? What do you guys like to do? Where do you guys hang out? Parks or restaurants? What do you guys like to do?
My husband and I love to eat at Taco Loco.
I haven't been there yet.
It's an amazing Mexican restaurant in Brighton.
I haven't been there yet.
We like the rec center. We go to the rec center a lot to swim and play. And the Oasis. We like the Oasis.
My mom comes down from Longmont just for the Oasis.
Yes, cool stuff.
Alright, so we're going to read this article that's in front of you guys. I'm going to read it out loud and I want you to follow along and highlight anything that looks really important to you. So I will pass out some highlighters. Alright, so today we're going to complete a graphic organizer after we finish highlighting. And then we're going to just assess our knowledge on using that graphic organizer. So we're going to start with the first paragraph, and it's about the beginning of how Brighton came to be. So a petition for incorporation was filed in the Arapahoe County Courthouse in Denver on May 6, 1887. On this date, there were 175 people within the boundary of the proposed town. An election was held June 11, 1887, with a resulting vote of 40 for incorporation and 17 against. Brighton was incorporated as a town July 26, 1887. The town had a church, a school, a blacksmith shop, a hotel, a meat market, 2 general stores, a post office, a railroad station, a telegraph station, a section house, a newspaper, a creamery, 3 saloons, and a number of residences. A new county road from Box Elder to Boulder was built and crossed the Platte River at Brighton. This road is now Highway 7 and Bridge Street in Brighton. So the next paragraph is about gold mining, and this is kind of how it affected Brighton, but more just how it affected the state of Colorado. So in 1859, gold was discovered on the eastern slope of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado by Pikes Peak. Some miners became very rich, but most miners led a difficult life and left the mining camps with less money than what they came with. The gold they did discover was used to pay for housing, food, drink, and living supplies in new mining town stores. Number 1, it was difficult and time-consuming to get the living supplies into a new and remote town. Number 2, there were very few stores, so the miners did not have a choice to shop around for better prices. So I'm going to pass around really quick some fool's gold, just to give you an example of what a gold piece kind of looks like. I'm sure some of you have seen this. So there's a little piece of fool's gold. Alright. So the next paragraph we have is about the Great Western Sugar Company and the Cooner Pickle Company. If you have seen it, it's off of Highway 85. It's a big white and brick building. So the Great Western Sugar Company and Cooner Pickle Company are the best known agriculture-related companies in Brighton. In 1971, with new equipment, the factory sliced 2,200 tons of sugar beets every 24 hours. The Great Western Sugar Company was so busy during the busy season, they built a dormitory to house the workers. The sugar beet not only ushered in one of the most reliable cash crops for the area, it was one of the most dependable crops on irrigated ground in the West. Brighton had been fighting to get a Cooner company, and on May 28, 1917, the plant moved from Denver to Brighton. Similar to the Great Western Sugar Company, Cooner built houses for his company, for his employees. These houses were called Cooner Row and are still there today on 4th Street between Longspeak and Brighton Street. So the next one is about Bromley Farm. So Bromley is said to have spent a considerable amount of time improving some of the best breeds of cattle in Cleveland Bay horses. During Bromley's time, there is evidence that the farm property was populated by an abundance of large cottonwood trees, shading the house and creating formal rows, lining the drive entering the property. It is likely that the family planted other ornamental plant materials and gardens around the main house, perhaps for decorative purposes and to grow a variety of vegetables for family consumption. Through oral history, it has been learned that there was a formal garden on the east side of the house for entertaining. Bromley served as a president to the German Ditch and Reservoir Company secretary of the Fulton Irrigation and the Brighton Lateral Ditch Companies, and was involved in oil development, serving as president of Gibraltar Oil Company. While in legislature, he worked to simplify and liberalize water rights and was continually a strong advocate for farmers and ranchers around the state. Also, while in legislature, Bromley helped craft bills that separated the northern part of the Arapahoe County into Adams County and named Brighton as the county seat. James hired William O. Roberts to farm and manage the former Bromley farm, with the first crop in 1936. The crops that were grown during the Roberts era consisted of sugar beets, alfalfa, corn, grains, and at one time a large field crop of tomatoes was also growing to the west of the barn. In addition to the fertile land for harvesting these crops, the Roberts family raised hogs along with dairy and feedlot livestock. The farm consisted of 160 acres during this period, with the majority of the land under irrigation from 40 shares of water owned by the farm and provided by the Fulton Ditch Company. So that is all about the Bromley farm. And next we're going to move on to the Brighton Armory. So this is actually right next to the library, and it's the Performing Arts Center that some of you guys have been to. One of the 12 in Colorado using Huddard's blueprint, and only one of the 3 left standing. So Huddard was a famous person who built buildings.
Architect.
Thank you. And so he built buildings all around Colorado and a few of the state courthouses around the area too. So the armory was built of 33,000 hydrostone blocks manufactured in Brighton. Upon its dedication and opening in 1922, the building was used to store arms and military equipment and to serve as headquarters for Company K, 157 Infantry of the Colorado National Guard. The second floor housed a reception room and dressing room. The basement was not only used for arms and storage, and curiously, it had a swimming pool with dressing rooms for both men and women. For years, residents had to travel to neighboring cities for cultural entertainment and ask local arts and organizations to make do with limited space in schools, churches, and civic clubs. Its designation as a local historic landmark by the Brighton Historic Preservation Commission set in motion the Armory's transformation into a vibrant cultural center. The last little paragraph at the very end is about the Denver Pacific Railroad. So I brought in a car that kind of looks like what you would have seen. There's actually a real rail car off of Bridge Street next to the bicycle place. So although there are a few extant historic resources associated with this period of Brighton's development, the location of the town and its physical layout have their foundations in this context. This critical junction provided north and south rails access along the Denver Pacific, now the Union Pacific, and east-west access along the Denver and Boulder Valley railroads. The rail line dictated the eventual development and physical layout of Brighton, while the South Platte enabled agricultural production and processing to flourish in the area. So that is a little bit about the history of Brighton and how Brighton actually came to be a town. So each one of those sections, so the Denver Pacific Railroad, Brighton's beginnings, gold mining, Great Western Sugar Company, the Cooner Pickle Company, the Bromley Farm, and the Brighton Armory, are all actually going to be our vocabulary words for today as well. So, can anyone go over with me and explain to me, just in a quick sentence, what gold mining was? What was involved with gold mining?
Miners were hoping to become rich, and so they were mining for gold in the Rocky Mountains.
Perfect. So on that graphic organizer that you see in front of you, we are going to figure out what the main idea is up on top, and then we're going to provide 3 supporting ideas, And then I want you to sketch one of those areas. So we're going to mainly focus just on one place. So for example, if you decide to do the history of Brighton really quick, then you could list 3 details that were found in that paragraph that intrigued you, and then draw a picture of something in Brighton. I want you guys to do that really quick. Alright, so now that we have finished that, the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to work on that matching page. So this has all of our vocab words, like I said, all the landmarks that are found in Brighton. And I want you to match, and you can work with a partner on this one. I want you to match that left column, so Brighton, Great Western Sugar Company, Brighton Armory, Bromley Farm, Railroad, Cooners Canning, and Gold Mining, to the definition on that right-hand side. So if you guys want to do that really quick with your partner, that would be fantastic.
Oh, that's the Bromley Farm. I remember that.
Company established in 1864 that began as a pickling business that's growing canned products in the Rocky Mountains.
I did not know that.
The process of extracting gold mining, a city in Colorado that is northeast of downtown Denver. Company founded in 1903 that extracts sugar from sugar beets. Built in 1821 to store military equipment, it was renovated into a performing arts center. A track or set of tracks made of steel rails which passenger or freight trains run.
Alright, so we all finished that vocab matching worksheet. And the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to pass out iPads. And on your iPad, the website that you see is actually BrightonColoradoArts.org. And it is a cultural website that allows you to find out about the cultural history and the current activities that are going on around Brighton today. So today we learned about some of the history of Brighton. We learned a few specific landmarks and why they are important to the city. And when we use the graphic organizer, we were able to understand the article a little bit more. And then we sketched a picture of the main idea and the supporting details of one of those landmarks. So go ahead and look through that website, and we'll go back into class in a few minutes. Thank you.